So here we are at the end of 2024. Another year has gone by. And if you've ever had the dream of becoming a fee-paid professional speaker and sharing your knowledge, wisdom, and experience with the world, you may be feeling a little disappointed in yourself because another year's gone by and once again, you haven't made it in this business. And I have a really strong message for you. As someone that's been in this business full-time, traveled the world, opened offices in 10 countries around the world as a professional speaker over the last 30 years, I can tell you that if you're frustrated because you haven't made it as a fee-paid speaker, or you're making very low fees, or you haven't made that much money, it's most likely not your fault. And as someone who speaks about mental toughness, I rarely say that, which is why I chuckled, but it really isn't in this case for most people. And I didn't know that back in the 90s, the early 90s, when I had this dream of speaking in front of large audiences and being on television and writing books and selling millions of copies of the books and all the things that I've done over the last 30 years. I had this dream, and I remember pursuing it and just failing year after year. Even in my first full-time year, I lost $50,000, and I was working like 16 hours a day. Of course, now that I look back, I was doing all the wrong things. There was no way I would have made it if I spent 25 years doing it. And frankly, I joined National Speakers Association back in 1997. I was a member of the Florida Speakers Association, and I can tell you I've met thousands and thousands and thousands of people that wanted to be speakers starting back in the 90s, and they never made it. They literally just never made it, and they're still trying at the end of 2024 to make it. And I still see them online, or I hear from them once in a while, and they say, "Oh my God, I'm so impressed with your success and how you could make it, and how I'm so frustrated I never made it, but I'm still trying 25, 30 years later." And I mean, this is, most people fail in this business. That's the reality of it. That's not my opinion. Most people fail. There's a 99% chance you'll fail if you try to become a professional speaker. Now, if you're a celebrity or now an influencer on social media, a big one, that's a whole different story. But for non-celebrities like myself, that the only people that really know us are the people that buy our books or see us speak on stage, or anything like that. We're non-celebrities. We can walk down the street and really no one knows who we are in public. And so that's the category of speaker that I've been in for 30 years, and that most people obviously will fall into. And there's a 99% chance that you will fail. But it isn't your fault, because the fix is in the speaking business, and very few people ever talk about this. The reason I made it was because I had mentorship. Yes, I had experience, and I had a program, a mental toughness program, really good content. But I'll be honest, a lot of people have really good content, and they're pretty good speakers, but they still fail, and they're just frustrated as they can be. And I don't blame them, because I know the feeling, way back in the first couple of years when I just couldn't figure it out for anything. I'm thinking, how are these people making all this money and I can't break into this? What am I doing wrong? I had built businesses before this, so I felt like I knew something about building a business, but this business is very, very different. And the problem is, hardly anyone will tell you that. You go to an NSA meetings, which I did for years. I mean, I have a CSP, they're certified speaking professional. I got that in 2005. I chaired the most powerful group of speakers in the world in NSA, which is the $1 Million Speakers Group, which only had 39 members in the whole world when I chaired it in 2011. And I don't know how high they got up, but last time I was there was a few years ago, and they had 60 plus members. Okay, very few people, non-celebrities, earn millions of dollars a year in this business, and there's a reason. So my point is, if you're coming to the end of the year, you're reevaluating your goals, your dreams, and you're thinking, maybe I ought to just give up on the speaking thing, please don't do that. The reason you failed is probably not your fault. It might be some of your fault. I don't know your situation. Maybe it didn't work that hard. But a lot of people really work hard at this business. They really try hard, and they fail, and they're just confounded and frustrated as hell. And I don't blame them, again, because I know the feeling. And here's the reason. People don't tell you that the fix is in this business, that most people who made it had a break of some kind, and likely it was a major break. Okay, my major break, I've told people this all over the world for, the better part of 30 years, or almost 30 years. I said, without Bill Gove coming into my life and becoming my business partner and mentoring me for 5 years, my first 5 years in this business, I'd still be giving tennis lessons in Florida. Okay, I don't take any credit for the ascension of my career, which happened pretty quickly under Bill Gove's guidance. And then people like Bob Proctor, who took me under his wing because he was Bill's student, and Larry Wilson, the greatest corporate, the most successful corporate speaker in terms of gross sales under Wilson Learning Corporation, one of the biggest companies in the training business in the world to this day. He mentored me in the corporate market because in the beginning, because he was Bill's student. So I had Bob Proctor, Larry Wilson, and Bill Gove guiding every single move I made for the first 5 years. Larry Wilson for the next 15 years. Bob Proctor, until just a couple of years ago when Bob passed away, was a great friend to me and mentored me, and we did millions of dollars in business together all over the world. I had these giants of the industry, okay? Well, Bill Gove mentored Larry Wilson. That's how he became Larry Wilson, the big Larry Wilson. Bill Gove mentored Bob Proctor. So did Earl Nightingale. What you don't know typically, unless you know someone who really understands where the bodies are buried in the speaking business, is that most likely they got a break. They're not better than you. They might be better speakers, maybe not. You might be a better speaker. I've seen a lot of speakers that are better than me that couldn't buy your lunch for cash. They've made no money in the business, and there's no way I could beat them in a speaking contest if there was such a thing. Okay, they're just better speakers, more talented, smarter probably. A lot of people, they just don't make it because they don't understand that usually it takes some kind of inside break to get in this business. So they beat themselves up their whole lives and go, I don't know why I couldn't have made it. And I've tried to be really honest about this over the years with people that I've mentored, and I've told people, look, get a mentor, get a break, look for a break. That's why I created the Speaker's Apprentice program about 15 years ago, and my top guy made over $9 million. My top student, he was making zero in the speaking business when I met him. Last year, he made about $9.5 million. I've got other speakers making $500,000, $700,000, and frankly, I have a lot of apprentices that make nothing because they didn't do the work. But I gave them the credibility. I gave them the guidance. I showed them. I made the contacts for them. I introduced them to the right people. I brought them on stage in front of, in some cases, 10,000 people in auditoriums. I did everything I could that Bill Gove and Bob Proctor and Larry Wilson did for me that I possibly could to get them an edge, to get them the edge that people need to really make it in the non-celebrity category. Again, if you're a celebrity, I don't know that business. I'm not a celebrity. That's a different business. Or if you're some big social influencer, I got 4,100 at this point, 4,100 followers on or subscribers on my YouTube channel. I probably got 30,000 people on social media total. That's nothing, as you know. Okay, so I'm not an influencer of any kind on social media, so I don't have any of that. I know the non-celebrity speaking business as well as anybody in the world at this point. Okay, I don't know the celebrity business and I don't know the social influencer business because I'm neither one. Okay, but if you want to make it the non-celebrity business and you're serious and you're willing to work your ass off, if you're not willing to work your ass off, just forget this business. It is not a business that you should enter thinking it's like having a job or it's like running a hot dog stand or any other linear type traditional business that people start. I've owned lots of businesses because I've invested in a lot of businesses. This is very different. It's very, very different. It's very special too. If you haven't stood on stage and had 20,000 people chanting your name in an auditorium, I'm not saying you haven't lived, but if that's your dream, it's, I lived all those dreams and all over the world. And it's really, and not to brag about it, but because the only reason I was able to do it because I worked hard, but a lot of people work hard, but I had the guidance. Every single move I made was guided by my mentors. And that's what made the difference. That was it. I don't really deserve that much credit. Some just for working hard, but knowing what to work hard at is the key to the whole thing. Knowing the right people is the key to the whole thing. Knowing who to sell, what to sell them, how much to sell it for, how to break into credibility-wise. I didn't know that, I was going to be on 1,000 television shows about my books because I didn't know how to get into TV. Well, mentors taught me how to do that. They taught me how to get in the press. They taught me how to build my credibility all over the internet through media. All these lessons, bottom line, and I'm going on too long here probably, but I just want this is my message for you, okay? If you are that person, you're sitting here watching this video, okay, and you're just hard done frustrated because you're thinking another year goes by and I'm still not full-time in the speaking business, I'm still not making as much money as I want to in the business. Here it is. If you're willing to work really hard, I can help you do this. I semi-retired. I sold part of the business off a couple of years ago, kind of semi-retired. I never got tired of speaking. I got tired of running all over the world. We had offices all over the world, and I got tired of employees. We employed over 500 people during my career and around the world. And it was just a lot of chasing. And once I got sick with COVID and I was down for a couple of months, it scared me, frankly. And I thought, I still have effects of long COVID, different things. And it kind of made me feel mortal, like I didn't feel before. I always had so much energy, and I still have energy, but not as much. I just turned 60 a couple days ago. And so it's a little weird, but I've scaled back my travel, and now I've dedicated my time to charity, giving money back, raising funds with organizations like the Rotary Foundation, with Rotary International, and some other things, the Do-Gooder Charity, which I have on my little logo here, which we're running through the International Personal Development Association, a whole other thing, but basically to charity, and then also helping speakers break out of that frustration, break into the 6 and 7 figure category as a speaker that they're capable of. They just don't have the context. They don't know where the bodies are buried. They don't know how the game is played, and they're showing up at NSA meetings, they're showing up at Toastmasters, and they realize after a while, or they don't, that most of these people are absolutely clueless. They've never made any money speaking. They're on stage and you think, well, they must be making money. Oh, no. It's an association, and it needs to have fees, and they need to keep people coming in and paying dues. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that necessarily, but if you're sitting there in the audience and you're thinking someone's on stage at an NSA meeting, you would think they'd know what they're talking about. Well, I can tell you after 25 years of going to those meetings, most of those people have no clue what they're talking about. Most of them aren't making hardly any money at all, but they'll never tell you that. So you think you're a loser because they're all making money. You're thinking, I'm 5 times as smart as this guy. Why is he up there on stage? A lot of it's politics, okay? So anyway, point is, if you're serious and you're frustrated and you're ready just to stop playing games and stop trying to do this by yourself, believe me, it's not because you're not smart that you're failing at this or you're not getting what you want. It's not. It's because you don't know what's going on behind the scenes of this business. I know because Bill Gove is the father of the industry, and when I met him, I was so frustrated. It was unbelievable. He said, Steve, it's not your fault. He goes, you should be one of the highest paid speakers, non-celebrity speakers in the world, but you don't know how the game's played. And he goes, I've been here since the beginning of this industry. I know how the whole thing is played. I know where all the bodies are buried. I know the good guys from the bad guys. I know the real people from the phonies. I know how the business works. I know how the money really comes in, not the way they tell you it comes in. Okay, all these things. And I was like, that's the greatest thing I ever heard in my life. And I told my wife, I remember coming home back in 1998, I guess it was, when I met Bill. I said, I think it was late 97. I said, if he's telling me the truth, we're going to be millionaire speakers. And that's exactly what happened. And it happened pretty fast because all of a sudden he directed me to every single channel I needed to go down. Every road I needed to go down, I was directed. And within 5 years, I was making over $1 million a year. And people were like, how did you do this? They're still saying this to me. People still say this to me. That I started out with in the business. Like, I still don't know how you built this career and, made $50 million plus dollars, doing this over the years. It's because I had the guidance. And I'll tell you what they tell me. They go, usually, oh, you're so humble and all that. You're just not taking credit for what you did. I'm not being humble. Yes, I worked hard. Yeah, I'll tell you that. I worked my ass off. There's no question. I had some great breaks. My biggest break was mentorship. Okay? So if you're sitting there frustrated, you're going, another year goes by. Another year, we sing Old Lang Syne, and at New Year's Eve, and we start all over again. And am I going to be in the same frustrated place I am next year with my speaking career? Don't do that. If you're serious, if you're playing games with this business, if you're just toying with this, forget everything I'm saying because you're never going to make it anyway. You're wasting your time. It's not something you would play with like a toy. It's not a hobby, okay? If you want a hobby, start a stamp collection. If you want to be a professional speaker and you're hard down serious and you're so frustrated it makes you emotional, that's how I was. That's how a lot of people are. I can help you. Absolutely 100%, but you have to do the work. I'm not going to do it for you. I can't do it for you, but I can guide you every single step of the way I've created some millionaires over the years with people who really worked really hard. And the difference between the apprentices I've had in the Speaker Apprentice Program, the ones that made it versus the ones that didn't, the ones that made it listened to what I said and worked their asses off. And the other ones just didn't do that much. They just didn't care enough. If you don't care enough, forget everything I'm saying. Just stop listening to this right now. Stop watching this. Okay, it's a waste of time. All right? But if you're hard down serious, go to speakersapprentice.com. Speakersapprentice.com. Okay, this is not a sales pitch. I don't need your money. Okay, I'm retired. I've got more than I need. Okay, that's all fine. What I want to do is give back, because without the mentorship, I wouldn't be retired and I wouldn't have more money than I need and all the rest of it. I would have lived all those dreams that I lived every dream I ever had as a speaker, every single one. I spoke to the biggest companies in the world. I consulted the biggest companies in the world. I've spoken to 10,000, 20,000, hundreds of those size audiences. I just spoke to one the other day for 2,000 people, 2,500 people in California, and it's because I take some selected dates. I'm not doing a lot of it anymore, but I take dates of companies I really believe in, like the one I spoke for the other day. Okay, so if you're with that person who's hard done, frustrated, you're ready to go to speakersapprentice.com, and don't wait, because the price is about to double on this program. It's a for sale program. You're going to have to make an investment. If you're looking for something for nothing, forget it. You're not going to get it. Okay, if you're looking for something for nothing, you shouldn't be a speaker, because you have to lead thought. And people that want something for nothing don't lead thought. They follow thought. They're followers. They're not leaders. Okay. So I'm just trying to be straight with you, because I don't have any reason to exaggerate or anything like that. But I'd like to help you if you're frustrated, because again, I sat there with tears in my eyes for several years. Every New Year's Eve, it used to really bug me as I was doing my goals. I'd sit there with tears in my eyes thinking, another year, why can't I figure this out? What is wrong? Why are these people that are inferior to me on the platform, and they have no idea, they have nowhere near the education I have, nowhere near the experience I have, and they're making it? It just drove me nuts. It just was one of the most frustrating things I've ever felt in my life. And then along comes the mentor and paves the way. And I thought, this is like, I lived a career that most people they've talked about making a movie out of my career. It's crazy, right? And the movie is not really about me. It's called, the title of the working title is The Mentor. It's not really about me. It's about my mentorship with Bill Gove, him mentoring me. That's what I can do for you if you're really serious. If you're not, forget it. But the reason is we're partnering with a Fortune 500 company. That's why I'm doing this long video, because we're partnering with a Fortune 500 company that wants to take the price and actually quadruple the price of this program. Okay? That's not going to happen overnight, but it's going to double in the next 15 or 20 days. So if you're interested in this, go to speakersapprentice.com, watch the video, fill out the application if you're interested, and you can go through the process of possibly becoming an apprentice. Okay? And if not, if you want to try to keep doing this on your own, you think, I'll figure it out, I'll plow through. I don't recommend doing that, and not because of my program, because again, you're not going to change my life. All that money, if you pay me and you go to the Speakers Apprentice program, that money all goes to charity. Okay, so it's not going to change my life. So it's not a big pitch is my point. But I just want to relieve some of that frustration, help you live your dream if that's what you want to do. And you're probably not going to find it in too many places. There's not too many 7-figure speakers that will take you on as an apprentice and actually walk you through all the things and actually tell you the truth about how this business really works, and then guide you, bring you on stages and that type of thing. That's what I do for my apprentices. There's no program in the world like it, because no one ever did it for, Bill Gove did that for me, and I never have heard of any program that does that anywhere. There's anyone that's willing to do that. So anyway, long video. Sorry about that. But again, if you're that person, go to speakersapprentice.com, apply. Hopefully at some point in the next few weeks, I'll be looking to talk to you and see if it's a good fit for you. If it is, great. If it's not, great. But if you're going to do it now before the price doubles, because it's about to double. It should have doubled a long time ago. I just was so busy, I didn't pay that much attention to the pricing and whatnot, and didn't really need the money, so I didn't fool around with it too much. But it's going to now, as we're partnering with this Fortune 500 company. So if you want to do it now. Okay? And so with that, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I wish you all the best. Thanks.